bit more fun because it is so low. So you could really cast a wide net on this.
Yes.
So like so you don't have to go right up next to 13%. You can so
we're gonna go, what was it? It was 13%. It was Texas. All right. We're still tied 2 apiece. Gosh, we haven't done one of these since
we didn't even get to talk about Bristol. So
no. But then like we did the one episode after Kansas, but we didn't do the Gluck poll in the Kansas episode.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So we haven't done this since Daytona. This is our first playoffs Gluck Rotten Tomatoes poll. So
and Jean Laulette. No good. So did you read my column?
I did.
What do you think?
Fucking sucked, dude. Don't send me that shit ever again. No, it was good. No.
Well, that's on the stream. Thanks.
It's fine. No one's watching yet. This is the first thing they click. Would you read my article? Yeah, it sucked. I'm joking. No, it was, for the record, it was good. Daniel does good work. He deserves a full-time NASCAR reporting gig. But you got a gig at Lafayette?
What?
You got a gig, right?
Yeah.
In Fayette.
Lafayette.
Fayette. Was it Fayetteville?
Little Rock.
Little Rock. But what's the name of the paper?
The Arkansas Democrat Gazette.
I'm thinking of Gazette. That's where I got it. I'm sorry. But the University of Arkansas is in Fayetteville, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to say Lafayette because Fayette.
Okay. I can get you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But yes, you'll be in Little Rock. And where are you? Are you in Little Rock right now?
No.
Where you?
I'm going down there tomorrow to look for places to live.
Cool.
So.
Cool. Well, seriously though, congrats.
Thank you, sir.
Hope you can keep doing as much NASCAR stuff as possible, but wearing many hats is not fun. So, but no, sincerely happy for you. You deserve it. So,
I can still do for some freelance stuff. I can still do the columns for Front Stretch and do magazine stuff for Speed Sport. So I just have to tell the Gazette, what I'm doing. So
there you go. And are you just a general assignment reporter or?
Stop recording. Yeah, general assignment. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Let's do this. It's been a while.
It's been a hot minute.
Oh. All right.
A minute that was hot. Sorry. All
right. And welcome back to Dropping the Hammer with Dale McFadden. I'm Dale McFadden, NASCAR writer for frontstretch.com and speedsport.com. Here to talk about, technically we can talk about 2 races that are just full of chaos and full of wonder, but mostly chaos. Wonder at how could this be happening? We're going to be talking about Texas and at least a little bit about Bristol. And with me, as almost always, is my good friend and podcasting co-host, John LaFollette. Say hi, John.
Hi, John. So, on Friday night or Thursday, I texted you and I said, "Hey, man, not gonna be able to catch the Texas race. I'm going to the Colts game. Those are long days, and I don't know if I'm going to be back in time to catch most of the race. So maybe won't be available for a podcast."
Luck would have it.
Luck would have it that. Not only was there a lightning delay and a rain delay, which helped me catch a good chunk of this race, but also everyone's talking about anything but the racing. Not only are we not talking about the racing or lack thereof, we're talking about whether or not talking whether or not NASCAR should abandon the Texas track. They're talking about should they just completely demolish this track? It's just the nuclear button, the finger is over the nuclear button, and it's been that way for several years, but it's inching ever so close. And this race just where do you even begin? I can't think of a NASCAR race that was this bad to watch since the 2008 Brickyard. And I was at that race. Like I can't.
Yeah.
It was painful to watch.
Well, I would argue that this was actually at least a little bit better because they were only going like 10 laps in that race, right? But
yes.
Like 10 shredding tires, 10 laps shredding tires.
Yes.
This was just a matter of, all right, whoever gets the lead, cross your fingers.
Yes.
So, see if you can make it. We're all gonna play. This race is about survival, and we're just trying to get to the end, folks.
Which is it's a great thing for NASCAR. Hey, it's the playoffs. It's our big time of year. Our regular season's been so much fun. Watch this race where the leader doesn't want to be in the lead. Isn't that great, folks?
They do want to be in the lead. The tires don't want to be in the lead. The tires aren't having it. It's like, I don't like it. This sucks. I'm out.
I mean, even Brad Keselowski, who won the pole, was like, yeah, I don't want to be in the lead. Like even the fastest qualifier is like, oh no, I'm just gonna hang out and just hope for the best. Like what? Well, here's the thing. What are we doing?
We went 40 laps without anything happening.
Yeah.
And then it just bang, 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 and then we finally had that long run. I think how many laps? How many laps was the final run? Like 25? I don't know. Something it was like a long run. Nothing bad happened. So, but yeah, and then Tyler Reddick comes away with his third one of the year. Didn't really get talked about that I've seen. It's like Tyler Reddick now has the second most wins of the year.
Yeah,
behind Chase Elliott with 4. And he's not in the playoffs.
No, he's not in the playoffs anymore. We have yet to have a playoff race where a driver who's currently in the playoffs win a race.
Yeah, I love it.
Not a single one.
I love it.
I like it too, but at the same time, and I guess you could say this for most of the playoffs. I mean, maybe not Darlington and Kansas because those races felt like legitimate wins, but like Bristol and Texas have just felt like, okay, who's ever out front and just happens to have some luck on their side. It hasn't felt like, oh, Tyler Reddick really won that race. It was just kind of, well, he was just the guy at the end who didn't have his tires go to hell,
because Tyler Reddick and his crew chiefs, they said like they figured out that they were overdoing it in practice on like the right front tire, so they dialed some stuff back, and so they didn't really have any issues in the actual race, whereas everybody else was having problems once they got there.
Confession, I've already forgot who won Bristol.
Chris Buescher.
Right? That's right. Yes, it was Chris Buescher. That's right.
Like, first win in 222 races.
Yes, that's right. And like that's why Bristol kind of gets the benefit of the doubt because like it's a feel-good story. Chris Buescher wins, popular driver. He hasn't won in a long time, like you mentioned, but like that race wasn't good. Like it wasn't fun. It was again, you couldn't pass. And you could pass if you weren't going for the lead, but if you're going for the lead, you couldn't pass.
There were like 2 passes for the lead.
You had Ryan Blaney at the very end. Yeah. I mean, the very beginning, and Keselowski towards the end. Like that was it. And then the Texas race was just, I don't know if everyone agrees that this is not sustainable, and it's felt that way. Everyone has said that for a very long time. Yeah, but it feels like this was there were so many bad things that just coalesced into a giant, what storm.
The thing is, like this, what happened in this race wasn't something new. This has been happening since the second race of the year at Auto Club Speedway, with Tyler Reddick cut down a tire while leading. It happened at Kansas in the spring. Happened at Bristol. It happens at all the large oval tracks, intermediate tracks for the most part. It didn't happen at Darlington. I don't remember any tire failures there.
No, I don't think so.
Or not nothing significant enough. But this felt like the crescendo of certain storylines, at least especially with the tires. But I think we all have learned, obey Goodyear's recommended tire pressures. Don't play with fire, because you're going to be in the lead, and then you're going to go into turn 3 and you're going to lose it.
And at the same time, you would think that, look, I get, recommended tire pressures, and I get, trying to, but at the same time, it's a competitive sport and teams are going to find any sort of advantage that they can.
Yeah.
But it just feels like there's gotta be. It just feels like the line between, being fast and spinning in the wall by going too fast is just very small. And it feels like there's got to be a way. And look, I'm not an engineer. I'm just a guy on his friend's podcast. But there's got to be a way where
can we get a shirt for you that says that? I'm just a guy on a friend's podcast.
I'm just a guy on a friend's podcast, like the arrow pointing up to me. I have my own face on the shirt, giving the thumbs up. But like, there's got to be a greater area for teams to play with. It feels like there's got to be some way to engineer a tire to be able to withstand some sort of limits that these teams put on them. Because like I said, like you can, like you said, it's been going on since the second race. And Goodyear, we've even talked about this before, where you read the email that Goodyear was sending out to teams saying, the recommended tire pressures. This is not a new thing. It's not something that teams are going to stop doing. So I wonder if there's a way for there to be some sort of meeting of the minds between, the teams and the drivers and, the powers that be at Goodyear to come up with some sort of way to get some other sort of tire compound in here that can take a little bit more punishment than the one that's got now.
Yeah. Well, Jeff Burton, he put it a good way earlier this week. It's like, this is your first year with a brand new car. You've gone to a larger tire. You've gone to an independent rear suspension. There are just so many new variables. That's true. This stuff like this should have been expected. We're gonna have issues. This car was not gonna roll off at speed weeks with everyone knowing exactly how stuff was going to transpire. And here we are, like Bristol. That was our first time on that track with NASCAR. We had no idea what was going to happen. And when you only get like 20 minutes of practice, you're not realistically recreating race conditions,
right?
So then there's stuff you're just not going to learn or figure out until you're 150 laps deep into a race,
right? Like, and then also with Bristol, that was the night that just every Toyota seemed to have power steering issues.
Yeah,
like just to the T. Except for I think Denny Hamlin was the only one. I think, but like I just feel like everyone. I think he lost a tire at one point. Just Toyota in general did not have a good night. But yeah, just power steering issues just took everyone out from the Toyota camp. It felt like so, and look, I know that the new car had its honeymoon period. Like you said, the first 6 weeks of the season, starting at the Clash at the Coliseum, like this car couldn't miss. But now, not only with tires and everything else going on, I think the biggest issue also has been safety.
Yeah.
And we saw that again with Cody Ware this week.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Fortunately, he only had like some soreness in his left ankle. So thankfully he's fine. But yeah, that's the absolute hardest hit that we've seen yet with this car. And then he almost hits a pit entry, or a pit wall entry thing down on pit road. It's like, oh God, it's going to be Mark Martin at Michigan all over again. But it wasn't. But he still took a hard hit. Something needs to be done with those, the garage entrances or whatever on pit road. You need put padding on the end of the walls. I don't know. Yeah,
I'm not sure what the answer would be there. But and I saw this on Twitter. I don't know who from, so I can't properly attribute it. So apologies for that. But they showed a side by side of Michael McDowell's incredibly chaotic crash, and then it shows Cody Ware's crash. And obviously, the more dramatic crash was McDowell's, but he just walked away. Yeah. And then you see Cody Ware's crash, which I know that not all crashes are the same, but just in looks alone, the more mundane crash is Cody Ware. When you think about it, in the history of NASCAR, going back to Dale Earnhardt's wreck in 2001 that killed him, it didn't look bad. That's true.
Kurt Busch's wreck at Pocono that's caused him to miss 10 races didn't look bad.
Yeah, that's true.
The wreck that Dale Jr. got that gave him that concussion that caused him to sit out the second half of the year didn't look like he just sideswiped the wall. It didn't look bad at all.
Yeah.
It's almost always the wrecks that don't look bad. And it's the bad wrecks that the ones that look bad, that really nothing bad happens. So to you. So
but I guess it's those sorts of things are just more paramount now, just because again, the last several weeks, especially with Kevin Harvick leading the way, is just saying that, this car is not safe. Something has to be done. I think didn't Ryan Newman, who has an engineering degree, like speak to the safety of these cars and had some questions and was skeptical a bit.
Yeah.
So, and look, I'm very pro driver. These are the people who are going to suffer the consequences of, some sort of mathematical or engineering screw up. And as much as I do enjoy auto racing, like I don't want, like, it's just at the end of the day, these are just races. Like I don't want someone to not be able to go home to their wife and kids, or their family over a race. And again, I don't know what the answer is, because these composite bodies on these new cars, it feels like there's just no give. Like the energy doesn't go. It feels like the energy just stays with the driver. And I mean, even Alex Bowman, I think you said this last time we recorded, like Alex Bowman said that, he's had some of the hardest hits of his career, and he's someone who's been in the ICU with auto wrecks. So, and again, I said,
Alex Bowman was in a wreck. Was it last week? Was it Kansas?
I think it was Kansas. Yeah, he said like that was the hardest crash he's ever been in.
Rolling? That was the hardest hit I've ever taken.
And and again, like I said, I'm just a guy on his friend's podcast. but NASCAR should take these complaints seriously. Yeah. I hope they do. But the biggest thing is maybe they brought this up on the teardown or on the broadcast on NBC. Again, I'm I had a busy weekend, so I can't quite remember where I heard this from. But, even if you start doing changes now, it's already too late, because they won't be implemented by the time Daytona rolls around. You'll have to be doing these implementations, midway through the year next year. And so I don't know what the short-term fix is. I mean, long-term, there's got to be, obviously, NASCAR has a greater runway long-term here, but like in the short term, I don't know what the issue is. Look, and how long we've been started doing this podcast, this particular episode, we haven't talked about the race or the playoffs. We're just talking about what NASCAR can do to make things better. So about the race, so what should they do with Texas?
I wrote a column at frontstretch.com this week with the headline, "Put Texas Motor Speedway out of its misery," which I don't. Texas has put on, even before the repave in 2017, even before they recalibrated, reconfigured turns 1 and 2. The reason they did that was because the racing hadn't been good there for a long time. And they thought, okay, we're gonna lower the turns 1 and 2 and keep 3 and 4 the same. That'll make good racing, right? If you have to slow down and then speed up at the other end. Didn't work. Then they threw Speedway Motorsports through its favorite track fixing PJ1 solution at the turns. Screwed up both NASCAR racing and IndyCar racing at the track.
Yep, sure did.
And I saw a couple of people respond to my column on Twitter saying all they got to do is fix turns 1 and 2 and be fine. No, that's not gonna fix the solution of that. Nobody goes to Texas races. Nobody likes watching Texas races. When was the only highlights you see of Texas from the last 10-ish years are fights and wrecks?
No, I mean, yeah, you're right. And like and like you've said on this podcast before, and like you say in your article, you've spoken with an executive at a team, and they said that they can't get sponsors to go to Texas.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable to me, because
4th largest metro area in the country.
Yeah. So. I Googled the population of the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. It's 6.5 million people. And to put that for comparison, that's the entire population of the state of Indiana, which is where I live. Like the entire population of my state into that whole area. It's obviously a market that NASCAR needs to be in. Like it's a very sports friendly market. I mean, Dallas is one of the few cities in the country that has all 4 major sports teams, all 4 major sports represented there, with the Cowboys, Mavericks, Stars, and I think the Rangers as well. Yep. So, I mean, it's not the market, it's the product on track. And it's the track itself. And I don't know I know that I know that Bianchi on the teardown said that they should do like a Bristol style track. So here, how about this? I don't think no one.
I don't want a Bristol clone. Like
I don't want a Bristol clone either.
Let Bristol be Bristol. So
how about this? I don't think they should do another Atlanta repave because that would just that would be overkill.
Yes.
That would be overkill. I would say since California is going to a short track, why can't Texas reconfigure itself to be like Fontana?
Because then you have brand new pavement on a super speedway like that. And then you're just going to have one lane. You'd have the problem that if Auto Club just repaved,
that's true.
It'd be the same thing.
That's true.
Absolutely the same thing.
Yeah, and you have to wait for the asphalt to deteriorate and get gritty to allow for the kind of racing that they have. Yeah. You're right. So, like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, there really is no.
Kyle Larson's suggestion was 3/4 mile short track with progressive banking. And I was like, that seems reasonable. Like, sure. I mean, don't make Richmond. Please don't make Richmond.
No. No, we don't need another Richmond either. But I mean, sure. I mean, Kyle Larson's a smart guy. He knows what makes for good tracks and what could make for good racing. Yeah, why not? But like, I mean, but there's what Texas should do, and there's what Texas will do. Like given, like you say in your column, Texas has been nitpicked to death. You know, making changes every few years to try and fix something. It just makes things worse. I mean, the easy fix financially is just to make it another Atlanta, because then you're just reconfiguring turns and you're doing a repave, which is nowhere near the investment of, completely reconfiguring this track from top to bottom, especially given the fact that, it's got other facilities built around the track. It's got, structural limitations that way. So I don't know. I really
make a short track and then build a drag strip. Wait, never mind. I forgot. There's already a drag strip in North Texas. Never mind. So,
I mean, is there another short track elsewhere they could go to in that area?
No.
I mean, I haven't Googled, so I wouldn't know. But...
No, there's no like dead North Wilkesboro in the vicinity that they could go to.
I mean, what if you like raced on the streets of Dallas?
I don't think.
Would that is
have
the
you,
Dallas?
Have you ever been to Dallas?
I've only been to their airport.
I don't.
Is it not friendly?
I don't think so.
Okay. And again, downtown, I'm just
downtown Indianapolis would be better for our street race.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Probably right. But
they could. There's that fountain. The circle. They could race around that. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. And then, I mean, honestly, the distance from the speedway to the downtown is not very far. You could probably actually link in. You could actually link in the actual motor speedway track to some sort of street circuit that goes downtown. Are you listening, Roger Penske? Oh, speaking of the motor speedway, IndyCar put out their schedule, and they're in town the same day that NASCAR is in town. So I guess the doubleheader
is still on.
Is still on, which for now is good. So,
yeah,
but
I'm fine with
back to Texas, like what?
Well, like I say in the column, that track is a relic of a time where you could just throw a track anywhere in the country and NASCAR fans would flock to it no matter what, no questions asked, wouldn't blink an eye.
Yeah,
it with just minimum amenities. All Texas Motor Speedway has is Big Hoss, and there's a taco restaurant in the infield. That's it.
Is the name of the taco restaurant El Big Hoss?
No, when I lived there and was covering races, it was a Fuzzy's Taco, and now it's something else. It's a different taco chain.
Never mind.
Is it Torches? I don't know.
If it exists, it's not here in Indy, so I wouldn't know. But that's lame. It's a chain.
So it's a relic. When it opened, it had roughly 150,000 seats. It has less than that now. They've completely covered over the backstretch grandstands with ads. They need to strip down the front stretch grandstands. The ends have been empty for years. Like
well, also, I mean, this year wasn't it like stifling hot this year? Wasn't it like almost 100 degrees or something like that?
Saturday's race was the hottest Xfinity Series race at Texas yet. In 25 years, it was the hottest.
And it's like, and it's almost October. Like, you know, damn climate change. But I mean, yeah. I don't know. Like, and again, it's hard to, if you're NASCAR, you can't just throw up the white flag because again, this is a major market. You have to be in this market.
Yeah.
You can't have your only Texas race be COTA. That's just not going to fly. Is there somewhere in Houston you can go? But I don't even know if Houston's like that's the thing. You're right. Like, it's just, this track was built back when you could actually build tracks, and that people would just show up. I mean, it was built what, 97?
Yeah, it opened in 97.
Yeah, I mean, that's like right at that's like, I don't know what it's necessarily the golden age, but it's certainly at the beginning.
No. In 97, Texas Motor Speedway and Auto Club, they both opened that year. Like, not like, there's a demarcation line in NASCAR history, and it's basically 97. 97 was the start of the boom, like really the boom. Like, you could say 94 when NASCAR went to Indy for the first time. You could maybe point to that, but for the sake of, you know, NASCAR or actually would have been Roger Penske and Speedway Motorsports, them opening those two tracks, that was really like, here's NASCAR ready to embrace the big stage. And look, auto clubs getting converted into a short track.
Are they doing it just because it's cheaper to do that than repave it?
It's not cheaper to do that. It's not cheaper, but it's just, you don't want to like repave it and then sit for years waiting for the track to come in.
That's true. Also, I wonder if there's some sort of tax reason, just because the amount of property you would need to operate a 2-mile track in California versus a short track. I wonder.
I think they're trying to sell off some of the land.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Just because I can't imagine what they're paying on property taxes out there, assuming they are. They might have had someone lobby a nice little bill for them out there to stop them from paying property taxes. So, but we can talk and talk and talk, and we can all wish and wish and wish, but it feels like they're just going to do another Atlanta. Like, my gut,
they're not going to listen to what you're saying. Is Speedway Motorsports is going to not listen to people again. So,
yeah. Well, also because, like, I mean, look, would it be a bad choice long term to just do a carbon copy of Atlanta? Yes. In the short term, would it be better? Yeah, I think so too.
I don't like, I know Atlanta had one of its best crowds in like a decade for the spring race. So, but I think the crowd kind of petered out with the second race. So it'll be very.
But wasn't that in like July or August when it was like stupid hot?
Yeah.
I wonder if weather just played a part of it. But yeah, I mean, you're right. And if I'm a team, it's going to be interesting to see what the crowd looks like for the first race next year. It's like, all right, is this kind of racing really what drives people? And if I'm a team owner, like 7 or 8 super speedway races is just like, that's making me look at my bottom line really hard.
I said it's a financial black hole in the columns. Like, this is the mantra. The people that, you know, that you've been beating the drum over these last few years is saving money. All right, we're going to give you potentially 3 more super speedway races if since Texas is only going to have one date next year. So but I mean, they haven't announced any plans. So as of right now, Texas is still going to be Texas for the foreseeable future.
What if you just, I was going to say, if you just take off Texas and go back to Chicagoland, what they're racing the Chicago street course. That'd be redundant to move a race back to Chicagoland. Well,
Speedway Motorsports doesn't own Chicago. You got to think in terms of, if you're.
That's right. Yeah. I just do a double header at Iowa like IndyCar and call it a day. No, I don't. I just, the best answers are the hardest answers. I'm sorry, the best choices are the hardest choices here, and the easiest choice is the worst choice, which leads me to think that that's what's going to happen. I really hope it doesn't, for our sake and the driver's sake and everyone involved. But like you said, I you just don't know. It's NASCAR is really in a rock and a hard place here because the market is one that you have to be in. But what other options do you currently have? You know?
Yeah. Like, so. I just like when the 2023 schedule came out, I looked at it. I was like, oh man, there's really not a bad stretch. There's not like, and then I got to Texas like,
yeah. It's like, oh, this will be fun. Oh, there, and like, look, it's like it's Texas. Like that's the population of that state cannot stop growing, and Dallas is a major area, and like it's the way that like we got excited, the way that we get excited for like Nashville is the way, because like that city just cannot stop building new properties for people to live in because that city's just growing so fast. That same energy is what we should have for Texas, and we just don't because the racing is just not good. And we're just beating a dead horse at this point. But it's just one of those things where you just have to wait and see. But I just my gut tells me the worst choice is going to get made. Like
I said in the column, I'm from Texas. The 1997 inaugural Texas race was my first NASCAR race. I have a soft spot for that track, but it just needs to be raised to the ground and start over. Like it's something that's appropriate for the time we're living in. It's not 1997 anymore.
Yeah.
Stop pretending it is, and stop expecting that fans are just going to magically show back up again because they're not.
And get some driver input, please.
Yeah, more than one driver. Like
yes,
they only consulted Kurt Busch about Atlanta, so that was the only person they asked about it. And then they went ahead with it.
Like, do they just like draw a name out of a hat? Like, who's it gonna be? Like, oh look, it's Garrett Smithley. Come here, Garrett. What are your thoughts on Atlanta? Like, I think that we should put in a road course and copy the Roval. Like, all right, Garrett, let's do it. Like, why Kurt Busch of all people? I just like not to say that like.
Well, he's a racer. He's a racer's racer. So
yeah, I get that. Yeah, it's just funnier to me. It's like Landon Castle. What do you want Fontana to look like? I wish this was like a reality show where you just like pull a random driver to like reconfigure a track and they have to like race a simulated version of it to see how silly it is. Oh man, that was Josh Bilicki. You get to redo Richmond.
No. It's like it's deal or no deal. You have a bunch of drivers up on a stage in their fire suits, holding briefcases with numbers on it, and you have Marcus Smith. He's the contestant, and he's having to pick cases. And we're whittling down options.
And then the cases are the tracks that they have to reconfigure.
No, it's the different plan. It's
there you
plans
go.
For the track. All right, and you got you remember like there's the dealer or whatever.
Dealer, yeah, there was a dealer.
The guy, the shadowy, the person in the shadows in a glass booth. And I don't know who that should be.
Dealer,
but no, Landon Castle.
Or like the guy that did the voice of Dale from King of the Hill. Not Dale, Boomhauer from King of the Hill. It's like, we've got a deal here. Oh, bang on man, tell you what, crap down man, pickle Brad Keselowski, man, tell you what, man, bang on man. Like,
But yeah, Marcus Smith is like, he's just whittling down drivers, trying to get that the just the right plan for a track. Like it gets down to the final case. Oh, who's hosting this? If Marcus Smith is the contestant, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the dealer. Who's hosting this?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Like what other like good NASCAR personality is there? We should just get someone super random like Christopher Walken. Like just get Christopher Walken to host this. Eric Jones, what are you doing? I'm just holding the case. Whoa. Yeah. I would watch this. We just came up with the best idea that NASCAR has ever had.
All right, Marcus. I can't do a Christopher Walken. Final case. You come down to 2 cases, and whichever one you open, that's it. That's when you get. All right. All right, Christopher. I'm now Marcus Smith. I'm gonna take case number 6, which is being held by Kyle Busch. All right, Mr. Busch, open the case.
Mr. Busch, open the case.
You got a figure 8 dirt track. You get to convert Texas into a figure 8 dirt track with a bridge.
Now, can like Fox get like can Fox get Christopher Walken to be like a guest like in like the booth for Daytona next year? Like just hearing him try to say these names. Daniel Suarez. Ooh, you know, just
speaking of Daniel Suarez, did you see the things I texted you that Jenna Fryer tweeted about some gambling.com or something like that?
Yeah.
Did a measurement of tweets and determining which NASCAR Cup drivers get the most positive tweets versus the most negative.
Yes.
And I got to bring this up. And so the number 1 NASCAR driver with positive sentiment in their tweets is Mr. Daniel Suarez at 44.7%.
Good for him. I don't know. I want to know like how scientific this is, or like where these numbers come from, just because like obviously Chase Elliott's the most popular driver and he's not on either of these lists, good or bad.
Because he's boring.
Like, do they just cancel each other out?
Like he's too lukewarm. Like,
yeah. You would not say that, you know, like if I was going to go out and like party with a NASCAR driver, it wouldn't be Chase Elliott just because the personality is not there. But like, you know, I mean, you look at like what's Austin Cindric's personality, you know,
like he seems Star Wars, man. Like
he seems like a cool dude. Like, yeah, that's Star Wars is something you like. That's not like a personality trait.
Oh, I beg to differ.
Yeah, I know. I said that to the wrong person. But then like, I'm trying to think. So here's the top 10: Suarez, Cindric, Larson, Harvick, oddly enough, Bowman, Blaney, Truex, Logano, Briscoe, and Kirk.
No, Harvick's on both, wasn't he? I thought he was on Hart. Oh, wait, no.
No,
so,
he's not. No, he's not. Yeah, no, it is generally cool to see though, because like I think Daniel Suarez is a cool guy. I've never heard anyone say anything anti Suarez except for Ryan Newman.
When I went to the race at Gateway this year, we were walking out of the track, and this firmly middle-aged white dude, you know, off to my right, I hear him say, "I'm just glad Daniel Suarez didn't win." I was like,
"What?" like why?
Well, I mean, come on. Middle-aged white dude.
I hate to, you know, color in the lines there, but yeah, I mean.
But yeah, it just took me I was flabbergasted. I was like, I've never heard anyone say something negative about Daniel Suarez.
No, me neither.
Ever.
I think Ryan Newman did once when they had that feud in 2018 or whatever year he was driving.
I don't even remember that. So I don't like.
Yeah, Newman went on the radio and said, "Yeah, he's never won anything wherever he's been." It's like he was a Xfinity Series champion, dude. What are you talking about?
You didn't even do that, Newman.
But like my mom loves Daniel Suarez. Like that is her dude. Granted, I think she just has a thing for foreign men with Hispanic accents. Because like
who doesn't?
True. But like when Alonso raced the 500, like she was all on the Alonso train. So I don't know. Maybe she just likes guys under 6 foot tall who are from Spanish speaking countries. I'm
honestly surprised that Joey Logano's number 8. I actually would have expected Joey Logano to be on the other list.
Yeah, I would expect Logano to be I'd expect him to be on that list too, given anything that's gone on this year. Speaking of most hated, I mean, we know why Bubba Wallace is number 1.
There, yeah, with by a lot. It's 30.1%.
30%.
Number 2 is Cody Ware at 18.9.
Is that because that was the guy who he had the Trump car in 2020, right? I
No,
wonder if
that was Corey LaJoy.
I'm saying Cody. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. I got that wrong. Is Corey LaJoy on here? No, he's not on either list. Okay.
No. You could write that up as being Cody Ware. He's the back marker guy driving for his dad. The only time you ever hear about him is when he wrecks.
Yes.
He's just kind of like, I'm not trying to disparage Cody Ware here.
I'm not either.
Or anything but he's like I said, you only hear about him when something bad's happening, and it's pretty frequently.
Well, that's what happens when you're a back marker. If you're a back marker, no one talks about you. That's a good thing, So, both Dillon brothers are on here. Although I think it's odd that Ty is ranked higher than Austin.
Ty Dillon's a good guy.
So, yeah, I have no problem with Ty Dillon. Denny Hamlin being so low. I mean, it's
oh no, you can chalk that up to him being the owner of Bubba Wallace.
You could.
It is. Like
yeah.
I remember Denny Hamlin saying at some point, I think in the last year or so, all the crappy tweets he'll get because he owns Bubba Wallace, but his car.
Imagine being that mad about something. It's just anyways. What I thought was most shocking, and I'm personally offended by this, on the most hated drivers list, number 8, Jacques Villeneuve.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I don't get that at all.
Why is Jacques Villeneuve on here? One, he's only raced in like a handful of NASCAR races. He's only done one this year, and that was the 500. I wonder if it's because, I mean, back when he was racing Formula One, like he and Michael Schumacher had a huge rivalry, and he was on the short end of the stick on that one. I love Jacques Villeneuve. That dude's the man. I would love to see Jacques Villeneuve try and race NASCAR full time, or at least do all the road courses. I would love to see him do Project 91 next year. Yeah, why not? Yeah, Jacques Villeneuve's the homie. I take personal offense to that, especially over Kyle Busch. More people hate Jacques Villeneuve than Kyle Busch. Give me a break.
Yeah,
this list is broke.
Yeah, percentage of Twitter posts made which were deemed negative between February 1st and August 31st. So I don't know. Maybe Kyle Busch isn't as high because he's not in like the Xfinity series winning every race anymore.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, but that just shocks me.
He only has one win this year. I don't know. So, but no, it's weird, very weird. But Daniel Suarez number 1, Austin Cindric number 2, Kyle Larson 3. So of the top 10. Logano's really the only one that surprised me.
Briscoe surprised me just by getting that many, but like he seems like a chill dude, and like I could see why a lot of people would be drawn to him.
He's definitely. I'll get a beer with him.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, especially even when he was in Xfinity, like I knew nothing about him in Xfinity when he first started racing, but I knew he's from Indiana. It's like, oh sure, he's from Indiana, not named Ed Carpenter. Yes, I will cheer for him. So.
And Alex Bowman being number 5, like he's such a likable guy. Like I
saw a ton of young people my age and younger wearing Bowman stuff at Indy this year when I was there. A ton of Bowman stuff.
He's got a sneaky sense of humor. I think I've mentioned it on here before. He's this generation's Matt Kenseth when it comes to humor.
Yeah,
it sneaks up on you. He's like, oh, like did you see his tweets with Jimmy Johnson yesterday?
No.
About Johnson was out. He tested out Bowman's sprint car yesterday on a dirt track, and so they played off the bit that this ongoing thing we've had this year with driver teams announcing drivers are going to race for them without telling the drivers, and Bowman like took a picture of Johnson sitting in his sprint car saying, I am. Without Jimmy Johnson's permission, I am announcing that he's going to race full time in sprint cars for me in 2022. And then a few minutes later, like Johnson replied saying, "It has come to my attention that without my knowledge, Alex Bowman announced that I was raced for him. This is not true."
Well, I mean, speaking of Johnson, he announced that he's not going to do IndyCar full time anymore, which I figured was going to be the move. Given once you saw how well he did on the ovals this year and how much he continued to struggle on road courses, I was like, it seems like the writing's on the wall here. So I don't know
he wants to do the double, man.
Do it.
He wants to, like here's the thing. Jimmy Johnson is interested in doing the double. Kyle Larson specifically had it, not Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch specifically had it put in his contract with RCR that he could do the Indy 500. And now Arrow McLaren is in serious conversations about fielding a fourth entry for Kyle Busch in the Indy 500. I'm getting excited just thinking about it. A year, if we got a race where Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, and Kyle Larson all did the double in 1 year.
Yeah.
Holy crap, that would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be incredible. And especially like say like a Formula One driver shows up too. Like, oh my gosh. Like I don't expect a Formula One driver to show up because they've moved Monaco back to the actual day of the 500. But just those slate of drivers, just Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, and Kyle Larson. Yeah. Both doing the double. Yeah. Like
and you could make it into its own competition. Like you could have I don't come up with an award, like whoever has like the best average finish between the two races, or just gets I don't know, gets a trophy. I don't know.
Yeah, bring in some sort of sponsor to present some sort of like award or prize money. That way both drivers all drivers or all parties involved have just a little bit more to brag about than just, bragging rights.
Oh man, we haven't had anyone do the double since Kurt Busch in 2014. I'm pretty sure this is wait. So before Busch, was Tony Stewart the last one who did it?
I think it was either him or Robbie Gordon. Yeah.
So that was like early 2000s. So that was the longest between attempts. So, but it's been a while.
Almost. It'll be 9 years next year. So.
Oh my.
Yeah, because Kurt Busch was 2014. So why not? And I'm so glad that Kyle Busch got that in his contract. And look, Arrow McLaren, for those that don't necessarily follow IndyCar very well, I mean, that's a top tier team. And Pato Award is on that team. They're going to have Alexander Rossi next year, who's won the race before. They always show really well at that racetrack. And I think Juan Pablo Montoya might be with them next year still, who's won that race twice. So that's a very, very, very good IndyCar team. That's not going to be, Kyle Busch is not going to, and he wouldn't go to some underfunded team just for the sake of doing it. Yeah. If he's going to do it, he's going to do it to win. Arrow McLaren is definitely going to give him the resources. The resources to do that. So, and I assume if Jimmy Johnson does it, he's still going to be a Chip Ganassi. And if Kyle Larson did it, who knows what he would do? But I assume he would drive a Honda.
I don't know, but
no, he would drive a Chevy. He drives Chevy. Excuse me, he drives a Chevy. So yeah, he would just drive a Chevy. So I don't know who he would join, but yeah, the more the merrier. I think that would be incredible to watch.
The TV partners, the sanctioning bodies, just all need to get on the same page. I know Nate Brown of the Indy Star, I think he did a story within the last few days about like, should the start time of the Indy 500 be moved forward, moved up in order to better accommodate the double? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Start these races in the best possible situations to make this situation happen.
Yeah, I agree. And then also on the NASCAR side of things, start the drivers meeting later. Because if you miss the drivers meeting,
there's no drivers meeting anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, ever since COVID, I totally forgot. So yeah, everyone wins. NASCAR, IndyCar, race fans, the Charlotte area, the Indianapolis area, everyone wins. TV sponsors, everyone wins. It's a win-win. Like you said, if it's just a matter of some logistics and some contracts, just get in the room over the off season and make it work. Like there's nothing to lose and everything to gain, especially getting like all three of those guys. If I were to wager, it seems like Johnson's going to happen. It seems like Kyle Busch is going to happen. Kyle Larson TBD, but even just those two, I mean,
it's kind of amazing to me that Kyle Larson is like tiptoeing around it. Like he keeps saying, "Yeah, I wouldn't do it." Like, come on.
Will Hendrick let him?
I think, yeah. I mean, he hasn't said no. He's not. I think it's just more of a matter that Kyle wants to be ready to do it or whatever. I'm just like, all right,
true.
You got your cup title. All right, man. You need to do it. Do it.
It would genuinely be incredible to watch. And look, and if any NASCAR driver that comes to IndyCar for the 500, I would gladly cheer for them to win. I was genuinely cheering for Jimmy Johnson to win that race. Like, obviously Pagano's my guy. I'm cheering for him number one. But like, if Jimmy Johnson won that race, I'd have been so happy. Like that'd been really cool. What a story.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, enough of that. So,
But like I full honesty, full disclosure, I've never liked Kyle Busch as a fan. Like just as a kid growing up, didn't like him, hated him. The second he steps in that Indy car, go Kyle Busch. I will scream my head off. Same thing with Jimmy Johnson. Never liked him. Thought he was boring. He's proven me wrong. He's actually like he was in his shell for pretty much almost his entire Cup career.
yes.
It wasn't until like the late stages that he kind of like started showing what his personality was like. But also, I hated that he won all the time.
All the time.
Oh my
all
God.
the time.
Oh my gosh. But no, like, but as soon as I found out that Johnson was going to be in an Indy car, I was like, go Jimmy. Like,
Yeah.
like I got a Jimmy Johnson IndyCar diecast. Like I went out of my way to get it. Like, because I thought that was freaking cool.
Do you have the Dale Earnhardt Jr. IndyCar diecast?
My friend Corey, who you know we went to school with up in Indiana. Yeah. He mailed it to me. It's like, oh my gosh,
that's really cool.
So yeah, I do have his iRacing IndyCar.
That's really cool. They actually sell like the big one too, and I see it every now and then, and I'm like, do I or do I not? I'll probably regret it one day when I don't. But
it's just the weirdest diecast because so many different things had to happen for this diecast to exist.
yes.
First, international pandemic, worse than 100 years. Sports shut down. Everyone migrates to iRacing for 2 months. And then Dale Earnhardt Jr. takes part in an IndyCar iRacing race. And I think he finished in the top 5.
Yeah. And it was actually sponsored by Nation, which was like, just, yeah, that whole, there's going to be a 30 for 30 made on all that. And it's going to be a fever dream to rewatch. And like when you say it, when you know, that happened 2.5 years ago and it feels like it happened like yesterday. But anyways, speaking of, we've been throwing around a lot of numbers here.
There was a documentary made like that came out last year about 2020 sports and all the COVID stuff. I remember watching the trailer. NASCAR wasn't even included in it. Like the sport that was the first one back.
Yep.
Wasn't even included. It's like, so we're already whitewashing there. Not whitewashing. What's the word? To not like
just lying,
misremembering. Yeah, it ticked me off. It ticked me off. It's like, anyway, as you go on, John, as you were.
So. We've been throwing around a lot of numbers here today. I think it's time to get into some real numbers that matter, and that's the Rotten Tomatoes Chef Gluck poll.
All right,
let's do this.
So the Jeff Gluck good race poll for Texas was the incredible score of 13%. Hey, it was higher than the All-Star race by 2%.
There you go.
By 2%. So yeah. 13%. So yeah, let's do this. It's been a few weeks since we've done this. So bring it on.
We are tied at 6-6. And this is our first playoff one that we've done. The last one we did was for Daytona. So I'll go first. You know, like I said, as people who are regular listeners of your podcast know, I'm from Indiana. I'm a proud Hoosier, and I got to represent for other Hoosiers. And a movie was made featuring one of our most famous citizens. This movie came out in 2004, and I've never seen it all the way through, but I've seen enough to know it's not a very good movie.
2004.
But the only time
a citizen of Indiana.
Yeah, came out in 2004. And I haven't seen
first. I want to guess the movie. Give me some clues. Indiana native, 2004.
He's a couch potato. Very
like in the movie, or that's his real life persona.
He's a couch potato. Kind of a laid back personality, but also, you know, kind of an ass sometimes, depending on what's going on.
Jack Black?
No, he's from California.
Oh, that makes sense.
But this movie came out in 2004. I have not seen all of it. I've seen most of it, and I've seen, the parts I've seen are not good. And when I saw this movie, I saw it at a veterinarian's office because this movie is about a cat, a very famous cat.
Oh my god,
a very famous cat from Indiana. His name is Garfield. Jim Davis, the illustrator.
Okay.
Yeah, Jim Davis, the illustrator for Garfield's from Muncie. So I think he still resides there. So yeah, Garfield. I went to a Texas road. There's a Texas Roadhouse not too far from where I live, and part of the local art installation is a mural of Jeff Gordon and Garfield.
Wait, where is this?
It's at a Texas Roadhouse in Avon, Indiana. There is a mural in the back of the restaurant that has Jeff Gordon on the Rainbow Warrior car and Garfield.
Can you please go there and take a picture of this?
I'm pretty sure I've taken a picture and I've sent it to other people. I will see if I can find it and send it to you. I'm not making this
up. Is there any correlation? They're just there. It's like,
they're
just Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, yeah, because they're both from Indiana.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's from California, but he grew up in the Indiana area.
Okay.
So he grew up around. He grew up in Pittsburgh, which isn't too far from Avon. So
that's brain fart. Okay.
I'm gonna look through my phone and try and find it, but it brought a genuine tear to my eye. It was incredible to see. But yes, Garfield, the 2004 classic, wherein Garfield was voiced by Bill Murray, also stars Jennifer Love Hewitt, Nick Cannon, Alan Cumming, and Breckin Meyer. Better or worse than the 13% Texas race?
Well, I'd rather watch Garfield again.
Dude, I found it. Yes. Okay, it's got Odie. It's got Garfield and Odie. I couldn't get Garfield in the picture, but I have Odie. I'm gonna send this to you right now.
We're about to go on like a 10-minute tangent on the decline in quality of Garfield.
I just texted it to you. Oh man, have fun. Yeah, Garfield. And this movie was so bad, but it still got a sequel.
A Tale of Two Kitties.
Yep.
Are
you looking at it? Isn't it great?
So not Garfield, just Odie.
No, Garfield's on the other side of the car. I just didn't get a picture of Garfield.
Oh.
It's Garfield and Odie, like in Victory Lane with Jeff Gordon.
And Jeff Gordon wearing Texas. I was like, why is he wearing a Texas hat? Oh yeah,
Texas Roadhouse. It's a Texas Roadhouse. He's wearing the Texas Roadhouse hat. It's a small.
There's
miracle.
layers. There's layers.
There's layers. All right, Garfield, higher or lower than 13?
Higher.
This is the Garfield movie, Daniel.
All right. I'll commit higher.
You are correct, sir.
Oh, you faked me out, Mr. Regis Philbin.
It has a 15%.
Damn. Okay.
A fifth, and the audience score is 38. I want to see how much money this movie made real quick. I want to see how badly this bombed. I obviously didn't bomb that much, or else it would have gotten a sequel. Yeah. Hang on here. I want to see. So the budget for this movie was $50 million. The box office was $200 million.
What?
Oh my god! Yeah, the Garfield movie, made $200 million.
Well, I'm actually shocked at the budget. I wonder how much of that was simply Bill Murray's salary.
And the sequel cost $60 million and made $143 million. So the Garfield movies made $350 million. What are we doing wrong? Anyways,
well, that was early 2000s box office economics. All right, it's
true. It's true.
It was a different time.
It was a different time. We didn't know better. What have we done? My turn. Grill me. Give me your worst.
Right. So this is themed, but it's not tied to any of the races, because sometimes I pick movies that are like based in the state where the NASCAR just raced.
I should have chosen Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Damn it. Oh well.
Anyway, so in current events, John, I don't know if you saw, but NASA had a little fun this week.
Yes.
They intentionally crashed a satellite into an asteroid the size of a football stadium in order to figure out whether it would be possible to do that, to keep an asteroid from potentially hitting Earth. So
which is helpful.
Yeah, we can do it. We can do
it. We can change. We can literally alter the rotation and orbit of things in space, but we cannot figure out a way to make Texas a good race. Like, what?
NASA, get on it.
It's like we can put a man on the moon, but we can't make a quiet vacuum cleaner. Like what? Like NASA can just solve all of our problems. NASA, get on it. That's the name of your episode, by the way.
NASA, get on it.
NASA, get on it. Anyways, what does NASA think about Texas? So anyway,
a lot of comparisons were made from this little experiment that to a movie that came out in 1998 that's often confused with another movie that came out at the same time called Deep Impact. But the movie I've chosen is not Deep Impact. It is the Bruce Willis action movie, also starring Ben Affleck. Armageddon, directed by Michael Bay and written by J.J. Abrams. Did you know that? Did you know that J.J. Abrams
I didn't know J.J.
was a co-writer on Armageddon?
I had no clue. Oh
Armageddon.
My God.
So
this
is famously known for its theme song by Aerosmith. I don't want to miss a thing.
That was the only number 1 hit Aerosmith ever had.
What?
Mm-hmm.
You're kidding.
No, that was the only number 1 hit they ever had. And they didn't even write that song. Normally they always wrote their own material, but I forget. It was a woman who wrote that song, and she's written a ton of other like ballads. Like that was like her thing, was writing very like epic ballads. She wrote that song. They took it to Aerosmith and they recorded it and went number 1. That's the only song Aerosmith ever had that went number 1, and they didn't write it. Yeah. The Armageddon song.
Well, it is. It is a departure from what you associate with Aerosmith.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. I mean, I've seen that song played at weddings more than once, and like, there's not a single other Aerosmith song that's going to get played at a wedding. It was written by what's her name, Diane Warren. That's her name, Diane Warren. Here's just some of the things that she. Here's some of the songs that she's written.
I miss you, babe. I don't want to miss a thing.
She's written songs for.
I don't want to miss a thing, except
because You Loved Me by Celine Dion. She wrote Blame It on the Rain by Milli Vanilli.
Wow.
She wrote But I Do Love You by LeAnn Rimes.
That's a spectrum.
Can't Fight the Moonlight, LeAnn Rimes. She wrote Can't Take That Away by Mariah Carey. She wrote some songs for Chicago, TLC, Lionel Richie, Whitney Houston, Meatloaf, Olivia Newton-John, Aerosmith, Devil's Got it. So she's written other songs for Aerosmith. This one's called Devil's Got a New Disguise. Don't know. She wrote a song for Cher. She wrote a song for Shaka Khan. She wrote a song for No Mercy, a Christian band. Just Ace of Base. She's
wow.
One of the more prolific songwriters. She's written for Beyonce as well. But Diane Warren is her name, and she wrote that song, and it was Aerosmith's only number 1 hit.
Today I learned. That's
me too. J.J. Abrams, huh? No wonder. That movie is really bad.
It's fun.
It is fun.
That is it. No, I will gladly watch Armageddon again. Like that is a Sunday afternoon. Turn on TNT, watch Armageddon.
Would you rather watch Armageddon or Independence Day?
Ooh, Independence Day.
Yeah, me too.
Like that. That's such a oh man. Okay, tangent time. That movie, Independence Day, came out in this sweet spot of where movies were shifting from practical effects and starting to really embrace CGI. The CGI is still kind of rough, but it's still cool and believable to a degree. Like the shot of like the flying saucer hovering over New York. Like, oh my God.
Yep.
Like I mean, that still looks good today.
The scene of the White House getting blown up will always be iconic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, that movie, it has aged, but it is timeless.
Yeah.
Like it's, I love that movie. Then they made a sequel, and the only two people in the movie who realized what movie they were making were Brent Spiner and Jeff Goldblum. Nobody else realized what movie they were making.
I never saw the sequel because I heard it was terrible. Because I heard it was terrible. But no, the first one, it's definitely aged, but it is timeless. And Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum, just what a great 90s duo. They just crush it. That move, their chemistry is so good.
It's a great odd couple. It is a
yes.
It's like Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. That pairing shouldn't work. It should not work. Works.
Yep.
Yeah. I would pick Independence Day over Armageddon. But Armageddon's a good time. It's funny. Got a great ensemble cast. Got an earworm of a theme song. So I did watch. So last year, I did this whole thing where I just watched a lot of 80s and 90s like action movies that I hadn't watched before. Because, hey, I was unemployed. I had a lot of time. So let's fill in some blanks. So, I had watched Armageddon before, so I revisited it. And but then I also watched Deep Impact. And there was one big difference between those two movies. It's like Armageddon, goes out of its way to just blow up foreign countries and cities, just wipe them off the face of the planet, and just not even address it afterwards. Where Deep Impact really you didn't do that. You saw all the problems, and there was treated with empathy and respect to a degree or whatever. Armageddon didn't do that. We're just gonna blow up Paris and not talk about it again.
Oh yeah, it's Michael Bay. No. Explode. Things exist to be exploded for no other reason than to be exploded. Did you see Moonfall? Came out earlier this year.
No, I didn't.
Oh no, dude, please watch that movie. It is so bad. There's so many stupid things that happen in that movie, but it's so fun to make fun of. Please, but I couldn't stop making fun of that movie after I watched it. Just rent it on YouTube, watch it, and we'll have all kinds of fun. The movie is so dumb, it's great.
That's a movie that looks like it should have been made in 1997.
Oh, it definitely does. I think it was made by the same guy that made
Independence Day.
I think it is. It's so bad. He
took the wrong lessons from Independence Day. Took the absolute wrong lessons.
He did. Sometimes that happens. Like Michael Jackson took the worst lessons from Thriller.
So anyway, which is higher, John? The Jeff Gluck Racing poll for Texas, or the Rotten Tomatoes score for Michael Bay's 1998 Armageddon?
Armageddon isn't good, but like you said, it's fun and it's got some cultural cachet to it.
Yeah. This is, I don't know if it's peak Bruce Willis.
It's certainly close. One of his better roles for sure.
Close.
This movie definitely has some cultural cachet, despite not being a good movie, capital G, but it's still a fun movie, lowercase f. I don't think it's that. That's got to be higher than 13. I'd be shocked if it's that low. I would wager this is probably somewhere in the low 40s.
Close. It's 37%.
Wow, it's got 30. It's that low?
Yeah.
Damn.
The audience score is 73%.
Yeah, there you go. That's one of those things where just the critics and the audience are completely divided. Everyone is on the same boat as hating Garfield, though. Poor guy. So we're tied 7-7 after all this time. Yep. I mean, our little
I gave you kind of an easy one.
Our little Rotten Tomatoes thing here is more competitive, or at least more interesting than the playoff races have been.
So yeah. I mean, we're through 4 playoff races, and no one who's currently in the playoffs has won yet. You've had Eric Jones at Darlington, Bubba Wallace at Kansas,
Chris Buescher
at Bristol, snapping a 222 race winless streak. Roush Fenway's first win since 2017. Its first non-super speedway oval win since 2014 with Carl Edwards. So,
gosh,
it's and then a week later, Brad Keselowski goes out and gets the pole, and this is the first time since 2013 that RFK has had multiple poles in a season. So RFK's kind of like slowly like chipping away at stuff, which is it's really, really nice to see, especially with Roush, like, because at one point they were the winningest like team in NASCAR history across all 3 series, and then I believe Joe Gibbs Racing passed them a while back. So,
okay. and then Rick Hendrick was like, "LOL." So coming into Talladega, the 4 drivers below the cutoff line are Bowman, Bell, Byron, Cindric. Byron just got penalized today for his antics with Denny Hamlin.
So let's talk about that. So we're okay. So I had the penalty brought up. Where was that?
He lost like 25 points, was fined 50 grand, right?
Yeah, Byron was fined 25 points. He goes from, he was 4th. I think he was 4th, and now he is 10th. 8 points below the cut line. He joins Austin Cindric, Christopher Bell, and Alex Bowman below. And Christopher Bell, he was on a hot streak. People were saying, "Oh, is he a favorite?" And then he has 2 tire problems and wrecks in Texas. So I didn't buy into the Bell hype. I didn't. I don't. He's not. He doesn't do enough for me.
I mean, with the way this
can make a run,
with the way this season's gone, though, a run is like 3 or 4 races. And honestly, we could very well be facing a scenario where Ryan Blaney wins the championship, but the only race he wins is Phoenix. Hell, he
doesn't even have to win.
He didn't even have to win Phoenix. He could come in second and win the championship.
So okay, all right. So remember, I picked Blaney to go all the way before
you did.
I said he's going to go on a Tony Stewart in 2011 run. So far, no.
Nope.
But he could do a Ryan Newman in 2014. Newman came within 1 restart. Could have won the whole thing without winning anything. So he's still, Blaney's 4th. He's 4th right now. 22 points above. And he's going to Talladega, where he's good, where he's won.
And then after that's the Roval, where he won. Granted, it was a fluke ending for him, but still, like, who knows? The Roval could be one of those fluky tracks. Anything can happen.
So this whole round is just crazy, really, when you look at it.
Yes.
Who right now, is there a championship favorite, John? Like, is anybody someone you could point to? Is like, I think he's got a good shot, or is it
as boring as it is to say? Like, say Logano. As boring as it is to say, I would say Logano. Here, I'll pull up his stats real quick to see what he's done the last couple of races. It just seems like he's just been a model of consistency.
Well, he was second. He was second in Texas.
He was second in Texas. Here's his last few races here. Okay. So here's all of his finishes since Indy. So at Indy, he came in 6th, 4th at Michigan, 6th at Richmond, 3rd at the Glen, 12th at Daytona, 4th at Darlington, 17th at Kansas, 27th at Bristol, but then 2nd at Texas. I mean, he's just been rattling off top 10s and top 5s,
except for Kansas and
except for Kansas and Bristol, and like 12th at Daytona, but like that was the rain race. So like he's been running really well lately.
He's second in playoff points. He has 25. Chase Elliott's 40. 22 and 226 stage points. He's tied with Blaney. They have the same amount.
He's sneakily had a pretty strong season. Although I think he's got what three wins this year? Two.
Darlington
and Gateway.
Yeah, Darlington and Gateway. So it did not occur to me until the day later that basically the whole William Byron, Denny Hamlin thing was just almost a copy of what happened between Byron and Logano at Darlington, except
it was under one was under green, one was under yellow.
Yeah. So Byron said, like, in his post-race interviews, like, I see other people do this and it's no big deal or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, you were part of that. He's mentioning it without saying it. So, where do you stand on the whole William Byron spinning Denny Hamlin under caution? He says it wasn't on purpose, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think he intended to wreck. I think he intended to bump him and give him a message of saying, "Hey, I don't appreciate what you did." Whether or not he intended to spin him or not, I mean, who knows? I think that Byron overreacted a little bit. To me, it didn't seem like what Denny did was intentional. It just seemed like hard racing, just two playoff drivers going for position. But on the flip side, the weirdest thing to me was the fact that NASCAR wasn't aware of this until the race went back to green. Yeah. Like, how are you not aware of it? Like, that was all that the broadcast was talking about.
To a thing happening on the front stretch.
Yeah.
Like, right under race control's nose. Like, that's... Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that, NASCAR officials have a bunch of different things and moving parts they've always got to be cognizant of. But, like, you don't have a way to review that under caution, especially when, like, again, like on the broadcast, that's all they talked about during that caution. Like, everyone knew, but NASCAR officials, the people calling the shots, didn't know.
Oh, well, we saw Denny go through the grass, but we didn't know why.
And then they're on the radio, like, after they got told to go to the back, like, they're on the radio saying we were spun intentionally. Like they were on the radio complaining about the fact that they got spun under caution, they couldn't get their spot back, or at least that Byron wasn't being penalized in any way. So,
Elton Sawyer, who's former driver who's now kind of in charge of officiating and kind of stuff, went on SiriusXM radio like the next day, and he said, well, going forward, we'll have discussions like what further technology could we have in our possession in order
TV or a smartphone.
He said, like, oh, well, if we had, Byron's in-car camera or Hamlin's in-car, like, you have those. NASCAR made a big deal that every car has an in-car camera now.
Yeah, you have it. You literally have it. Look, like, these are major playoff implications. Like, Hamlin had a good car. He could have, the way that, cars were sort of atrophying there at the front. Maybe Hamlin's got a chance to win that race, and maybe he's already locked into the next round, and he doesn't have to worry about Talladega or the Roval. There's huge playoff implications there. I know it goes the other way here with Byron, but he's only 8 points out. He can make that up. The only two that really need to win are Bowman and Christopher Bell. They're more than 20 points below the cut line. But I mean, you talk about manipulating outcomes. Like, yeah, that's NASCAR manipulated an outcome through just negligence. Like, there's no way that NASCAR shouldn't be able to be on top of that. Like, what? Like, I have a YouTube TV subscription, and I can watch the race on my phone. You telling me, like, you can't? Like, it's really that simple. Like, NBC has it, but you don't.
My big issue was that you had, like, the camera work that was done by NBC at Texas, I thought was pretty shoddy. Like, there were multiple instances where there's no clear replay of an incident, so you're getting this, like, zoomed in, pixelated shot, like the Cody Ware accident. Like, he's just this dot that just shoots up and hits the wall. It's like, I guess that was Cody Ware. So the Hamlin Byron thing, you have to use 3 different cameras to piece together what happened with that accident.
Yeah.
The onboard camera, a camera that's sitting there on the wall on the exit of turn 4, and then there was a camera up high that actually captured Hamlin going through the grass. So the fact that you have to piece together with, like, 3 different Zapruder films to figure out what happened.
Not a Zapruder film analogy for Texas. No.
Oh!
No. It's too soon.
Back and to the left.
It will. Oh, no. No. No, it's too soon.
I didn't even think of that. Thank you for bringing that up. But no, it's like, in 2022, we shouldn't be having to piece together highlights from, like, it shouldn't be this hard. So I agree. So,
Who's
Ty
gonna
Gibbs. Ty Gibbs.
win?
What-
Yeah. I mean, it seemed I saw someone on Twitter say that Eric Jones brake checked him the second time, and that's why he hit him a second time.
Oh, I wasn't even going to bring that up, but yeah, like I want to know why Eric Jones got up at 1:45 in the morning or whatever to tweet at Ty Gibbs.
He's probably still awake.
Don't bump me under caution ever again.
Don't bump me, bro.
It's like, oh, okay, Eric. Are you okay? Like, what? If I was a reporter at Talladega this weekend, I'm asking Eric, so what were you doing at 1:45 in the morning?
Yeah. Was that you, or was that like your publicist? Was that your agent? Like who?
I was hacked. Were you? But he replied directly to Ty Gibbs' statement on Twitter, said, "Don't you ever put me under caution again." Like, this is not a side of Eric Jones we've ever seen. So
Yeah, I know.
I have so many questions.
Like, chill, Eric Jones. Yeah, he looks like a little league coach. And I don't mean that in a bad way. What were you gonna say about Ty Gibbs other than Eric Jones?
Like, this is his second offense, technically, after his fight with Sam Meyer at Martinsville.
Yeah.
Which that fight resulted in a NASCAR official getting injured, like, or having to go to the infield care center. He never apologized for that.
No,
he never apologized. Sam Meyer did immediately. Said on Twitter, "I apologize to the NASCAR official. I'm really sorry." Whatever. Ty Gibbs never did. And I could read Ty Gibbs' statement that he posted about, almost pushing Ty Gibbs into both a RFK team crew members and NASCAR officials. And I think I could muster up enough sincerity that is completely devoid in that statement. Like, there's no, this is him. There's just no sincerity in that.
Yeah, when you read that statement, you can read it in a Stephen Hawking voice, and it would have the same effect. Like, you could just that really robotic, just zero emotion voice. And yeah, I don't. It's just one of those things where someone's going to have to send a message to him either in pit lane or on the track.
I think Ty Gibbs has proved with his penalty, don't send messages on pit road.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, who's going to win Talladega other than the fans that show up?
Well, if it doesn't rain because of the hurricane,
it's looking like it should be fine.
Okay, good. I haven't looked at any models or anything. Man.
On Sunday, it's only going to be a high of 74, but there's only a 10% chance of rain on Sunday, so it's looking good.
Okay, good. Who's gonna win? We got to keep the non-playoff driver streak going.
Oh no.
Oh man. Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Okay.
Is my non-playoff pick among playoff drivers? Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney is going to finally get his first win of the season.
My non-playoff driver pick. Man, would it be weird to pick Bubba Wallace again? Nah, I'm not going to do that. You know what? It's just a podcast. I'm just a guy on a podcast. Yeah, Bubba Wallace, non-playoff pick. Shock the world again. Make the haters mad again. Actual playoff pick, serious pick. I genuinely think Blaney's going to win this race. And I'm not just saying that because I'm wearing his hat. So, yeah, I'll pick Blaney.
It's just remarkable that, like, he's fourth in the standings. Like, that's with no wins at all this season. That just shows you how good of a year he had.
Yeah,
he has 226. Like I said, 226 stage points, which is tied with Logano. 14 playoff points. So, like, think about it. Like, 4 races so far, no playoff winners. That's 20 playoff points that have been left on the table. That's crazy. So I went back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 playoff points from stage wins have been won by playoff drivers, and Bell has the most with 2. That's just in the playoffs. It's not the whole season. So
I genuinely hope that we can just get back to talking about racing. I want to talk about
it's Talladega. Something is.
Oh, I know, but like given the Cody Ware incident and how hard these hits have been, I really hope that all drivers walk away.
One car accidents, one car spins.
I really hope that whenever the big one hits, I hope that everyone walks away. I hope that everyone's okay. I genuinely hope we have nothing to talk about other than racing next week. I expect it to be a good one because, Blaney can win this race. Chastain can win this race. Hamlin's won on super speedways. These sorts of races are anybody's to win and they're everybody's to lose. So whatever happens, I just genuinely hope we can talk about racing please.
So yeah. All right. So before we close this out, little update on me. So 2 years ago, next month, I was laid off by NBC Sports after almost 6 years. I've spent the last 2 years trying to find a solid full-time job to take its place while freelancing, with FrenchStretch.com and Speedsport.com. So I finally got one. October 25th, I will be starting as a general assignment reporter for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, based in Little Rock.
Woo!
I will still get to do freelance stuff in the NASCAR space with Front Stretch and occasional magazine stories for Speed Sport. I will be profiling whoever is the Cup champion in November. I'll be writing the story on that person for the December issue of Speed Sport magazine. But I will be doing other non-NASCAR journalism stuff for hopefully the foreseeable future. I don't know the fate of this podcast. I haven't asked about that. But I figure, if I can still do the freelance stuff, this should be okay. I'll find out soon. So I'll still try to do this podcast at least up until October 25th. So,
there you go. That's a whole other month away.
Future Daniel will deal. We'll deal with that.
Future Daniel.
So that's my update. John, what's been going on with you?
What's been going on with me? Work, reading terrible things that people do to other people. But no, it's fine. Terrible people, or not terrible people, otherwise good people that made a really bad choice deserve due process. And I'm happy to give them due process. I'm just looking ahead at what October is going to be. So that'll get us all the way through the Homestead race. So that'll just be 2 races left. So you can finish out this season. Don't be a baby.
I just won't tell them about the podcast.
It's yeah. Keep it on the down low. It's like one day your editor's like, "What? You have a podcast? Not on my watch." Anyways, so,
throwing stuff across the newsroom. How dare you?
No. In all seriousness, no. I'm really happy for you. You're more than deserving of it. Best of luck to you. And also, it's really neat that it's where you're already living, more or less. It's your home state where you're currently at. So that's cool.
Yeah,
so you don't have
get to move to Little Rock, Arkansas. We're recording this Wednesday night. I'm planning to go down to Little Rock tomorrow to look for a place to live.
Nice.
So
sounds good. Woo Pig Suey. I hope they beat Alabama this week.
So you should totally, since I'm going to be closer to Memphis, you should totally come down and we could go hang out at some music places in Memphis. I don't know.
I've been meaning to get to Memphis for some time. So I would genuinely love to go.
I mean, I'm not an Elvis guy, but we could go to Graceland.
Oh, I'd love to go to Graceland. Just for
is this the toilet where he died? Is this it?
No, sir. They took that out years ago. Jim Irsay bought that. No. Have you not heard about Jim Irsay's incredibly eclectic rock and roll memorabilia collection?
No.
That's all he does with his money. He has the guitar that Kurt Cobain played in the Smells Like Teen Spirit video. He has a bunch of instruments that the Beatles wrote a bunch of iconic songs on. He's got a bunch of outfits that Prince wore. He has one of Prince's guitar that he played. He just had a show at Lucas Oil where the Colts play, just showing all the stuff he has. He has a drum set from Ringo Starr that he played on the Ed Sullivan Show. So yeah, it would not shock me at all if Jim Irsay had the toilet that Elvis Presley died on. So um, what else is a rich man who owns a football team supposed to do with all his money? Just buy weird, stupid stuff with it. Although that is a good trivia question. What happened to the toilet that Elvis died on?
On this podcast, on this 6-part podcast, we
That's your first story. I just gave you your first story for your paper. Does anyone know what happened to the pooper that Elvis died on?
and that's how we're going to end this week's episode of Dropping the Hammer with Dale McFadden. I am Dale McFadden. Had to screenshot John laughing into his hands. Anyway, but yeah, this has been Dropping the Hammer with Dale McFadden. Please check out my columns at FrenchRich.com, including this week's about putting Texas Motor Speedway out of its misery. Subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform. Subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/Dale McFadden. Follow me on Twitter at Dale McFadden. John, where can they find you?
They can find me searching for Elvis's toilet. You know who can figure out where Elvis's toilet went? NASA.
Get on it, Nest.
Get on it, NASA.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. I apologize for drawing in advance.